Oh, hey artists, welcome back. I have all my Starry Night gear on today because we're going to be drawing landscapes, and one of my favorite paintings is a landscape by the artist Vincent van Gogh. You can learn more about landscape artists in the learning plan this week. And we talked a little bit about foregrounds and backgrounds in last week's portrait video, so we're going to explore that more this week. And I'm recording this on the official first day of spring, so the landscape I am going to be drawing kind of reflects the change from winter to spring. A landscape is basically an outdoor scene. And if you look at the picture defining and identifying foreground, middle ground, and background, the foreground is going to be what's usually drawn on the bottom of the paper. It's what's closest to us. So anything in the background, which is usually, as you can see in the pictures, the sky and things that are the furthest away from us, those things are going to be smaller. And the middle ground's everything in between. So I'm going to show you how you might get started. So we're going to start with the foreground, and that is going to be what's showing closest to us. So it's usually at the bottom of the page. So I'm just going to make a couple loops for the flowers. I'm going to make my petals pretty simple on this one, just kind of round loops. But you might get a little fancy. Maybe your petals are triangles, or maybe they have a really unique shape. So it's up to you. Now when I get to this part, I'm about to run into my other flower. So I usually just stop, skip over wherever the drawing was. This is called overlapping, when you make it look like one part of your drawing is going over another part. So if I were using pencil, this is when I'd erase that little part in the middle. Again, sometimes a mistake can be something neat. So I'm going to add more triangles, and it looks like I did it on purpose. When I go to this one and I get to the other flower, I stop because I don't want to go drawing over my middle flower, and I want to make it look like the middle flower is overlapping the end flower. So that's kind of the beginning of my foreground, and you know what? I'm going to do one little loop over here for these flowers. The seeds would be really big because they're very up close. Now, depending what kind of landscape you're drawing, if you're drawing a beach scene, you might be drawing beach umbrellas instead of flowers. Or if you're drawing a scene in the woods, maybe you're drawing bushes or trees for your foreground. For the next level, though, I am going to do the waves. I really like how that comes out, and I just use a very wavy line. Kind of go back and forth. Lots of people make waves differently, so this is just how I do it. And as you see in the one I did here, I even added a second line just to make it more interesting. You're an artist, so you can really make it look realistic, or you might make it look a little more surreal. So I got my waves here. I could even do a second layer. Maybe I'll do that this time. I haven't tried that yet. So another second layer in my middle ground just for fun. And this is kind of something you might want to try, but you don't have to. Next, I'm going to go to my mountains, and I've made so many with round mountains. I think I will do the sharp mountains again. So I'm using just those sharp lines, zigzag lines, you could say. Sometimes I keep going with it like here, and sometimes I stop and start a new one. If you do want snow on them, sometimes you can make a little line up here, and it makes it look like they're covered in snow at the top. So that's pretty fun. So again, your sky, you could make it like the starry night and have stars and moons in it. But if you do want to try the sun shape, I usually start behind your mountains, and you're going to do a big half circle. Again, it's overlapping, so I'm not drawing the whole sun. I'm stopping when I get to the mountains. Now it looks like the mountains are over the sun. If you have a ruler, you can use it. Otherwise, you can just do your best to make straight lines. But if you do have a ruler, I like to use it to make my sun rays into straight lines. And you might decide to keep your landscape as simple as this and stop here. Some students really went above and beyond, and they started to fill in some of their areas with different shapes. So for instance, the sun ray, again, this was a kind of a mistake, but maybe I make it into something that looks more like I did it on purpose. These are the samples I've been making in class. In this one, I've been using watercolors, and the outline is where I trace over my pencil lines. That can be done in black crayon or oil pastel. If you are going to use watercolors, it holds the colors in. So just something to think about later. And I'm using a lot of warm colors for my son, but as the artist, it's really your choice. For this one, I think I'm going to use crayons and colored pencils just to make it a little different. When I am done coloring my whole picture here, I do like to add my artist signature. So that's just my name. I'm just going to add my name right here. The great thing is after you've drawn one landscape, you might try another one with different things in the landscape.